Yo, what's up, YouTube? I'm making a build guide today for 14.19. This was a hard patch to figure out. I've been technically working, I know it's like day 2 or something on the patch, but I've been working on figuring out the right build for at least 2, 3 weeks. Spent a lot of time on PBE, good streams for that, and I'll tell you, so there's basically 2 rune pages that are viable. Everything else kind of doesn't really work. Reason is because you need minimum of 20 haste in your runes. 25 is better, but you can get by with 20. And because the items that we're building, the system that we're given now, doesn't allow you to reset combo with a traditional setup. So you have to change it up. So here's the main page. You go Conqueror, it's just very good for early all-ins, and it scales the best out of any of the runes you can take currently because of the nerf to grudge. You do way less damage to tanks and bruisers. So unless you only want to have like one target, you must go Conqueror. Triumph is the best option out of the 3. I've playtested this extensively. The 20 gold is not trivial. It actually adds up a lot and very quickly. And then the HP is just very clutch for team fights and for 1v1s. Legend haste, obviously 15 haste, so you're gonna need that for a reset combo. And you take last stand. This rune is just really strong. Does as much as electrocute, if not more, at pretty much all stages if you play for it. Which with Conqueror you can kind of play for it, so really good. Now onto the secondary, we go Jack of all trades. It gives you minimum of 5 haste. There are some games I've actually hit 10, which I can show you the build in practice tool once we get in practice tool. But you only briefly hit 10. Usually, if you're sitting on 5, you're getting the value you need out of this. So that's more than enough. Biscuits. So biscuits is the new like best rune IMO for early game because it starts at 2 minutes. There's so many different things that this rune does for you. It gives you 90 max health after you've used all 3. So when you combine with scaling HP, you basically have a free Edge of Night in inventory. Obviously minus the spell shield, but that is pretty good. You end up being very tanky, and it synergizes very well with your last stand. Um, at the same time, it's just like extra pots in lane is really helpful, especially considering that it's an ignite meta. So summoner spell we're taking is ignite, I guess, spoiler alert. And then you take double adaptive. You can go flat HP. That's kind of the only variance. If you think you're gonna go, it just depends. Like I think flat HP actually is slightly better than the scaling, but I'm a little greedy and I'm playing the early game with the scaling health, and I'm winning the early game. But it is obviously early season, but maybe I'll switch over just flat health later. But for now, I'm on the scaling health. So that's the first rune page. Here's the second rune page. Almost the same. You still have the 4 core pieces, right? Legend Haste, Last Stands, Biscuits, and Jack of all trades. But this is just with first strike and cashback. This is just really good for scaling. You build the same regardless of like which rune page you're taking. The build is the same. I'll show you the build in a second. You can go cut down instead of last stand because it does have more synergy, I think, for this rune page for poking. But I think cut down just even without Conqueror is still strong, so I'm kind of taking it. But yeah, so let's hop into game. I'll show you guys the build. So it took me a while to realize this, but because of the nerf to grudge, so Conqueror is the main page. You like almost always want to go Conqueror, by the way. So it took me a while to realize this, but the grudge now is just so bad. Like it's actually such a weak item, and I'll show you why when I do some damage testing. I'm gonna try to keep this video under 10 minutes. We're currently 5 minutes in, so I have to be quick. Okay, so build path wise, you have two starts. You have longsword refillable. There's three starts technically. I'll go over all three. So there's longsword refillable. This is kind of the greediest start you can go. I normally don't do this actually when I do Conquer. Usually I'm starting Thorn's Blade because it gives you 3 jack stacks. And obviously one pot sounds like shit, but you know, you have 2 extra pots during lane phase minimum with biscuits, so you're not too worried about that. Then you're gonna rush Dirk and Boots, and you're already at 5 stacks. That's really, really strong. That's really, really, really strong. Make sure you're easily gonna have this in your inventory by like level 5 or 6. So much stronger. It's like you have the old Dirk. Anyway, so you upgrade your Dirk into Opportunity. This is your first item. You don't upgrade Boots. That's another thing. You can buy the glowing moat, but it's so inefficient to you're basically paying 350 gold for 20 move speed. It's not worth it. So I would highly suggest if you can buy this if you want, if you have to, but it builds into sorry, not this. Builds into Voltaic. You want to go Voltaic second, and then third item is Hubris. Now you're asking where's my grudge? Like, don't you go grudge instead of Hubris? Wouldn't that be better? It actually doesn't matter because it's not true, because if they have, let's say they have like 90 armor, okay, there's my WEQ, and then the 905, 940. Like it actually doesn't matter. It's slightly better to have the flat pen against squishies. It'll be slightly better to have grudge against the people with armor, but the amount of hits you need to kill them is going to be the same. So you might as well go the Hubris. It'll help your scaling, and it'll also help you kill the supports better and stuff. If they have like enchanters and stuff, this build is just overall stronger. Triple lethality is the way now. Yeah, if you the grudge is mathematically better when they have a lot of base armor unless they're building a lot of armor. So I'd say the rule for this item now, if they're only building like tabbies or seekers, go triple lethality. If they have like full Zanyas, or they have like, you know, someone with a full armor item. So basically if they have a full armor item, then try to get your grudge as soon as possible. But yeah, other than that, you wait till late game at like 4th item for their base armor to become, you know, 70, 60 plus to get the value from this. Yeah, so continuing, then you can upgrade this, boots, yeah. You sell this, you go Axiom. You can sell your boots late game for Profane. Profane's kind of like a last item now on Zed, because everything else is kind of more important. These 3 items are your core. This is your core 4th usually. If you can get away with it, if they're just not building any armor, you, instead of going grudge, you can just go hydra, by the way. You can swap the build, you can swap this, but yeah. And then this is also really important because Zed's RCD, there's like not much haste in the game anymore, so your RCD is insanely long. So Axiom actually kind of outweighs Profane nowadays, with the Profane getting nerfed. And yeah, the longer you wait to get Profane, the better anyway. Like it'll be more efficient. You're more efficient with your gold if you wait because of the active. So that's the core build. Yeah, you don't need Edge of Night. Sorry, you don't need Eclipse. I know people are like, where's the Eclipse? It's because you have biscuits giving you 90 HP. So I would have 2600 HP here, right? And when this was scaling, right? So I'm already naturally tanky enough to not be just a one shot from damage. Because the only reason I think, this is my take on it, the only reason you build Eclipse was because you could be damage peeled. Like, you could peel people with like assassins with CC, but you can also peel with damage. If they're squishy enough, and like the ADC autos you, the mage hits a spell on you, and you die to that, then yeah, you can't play either, right? They can peel you with just like basic damage spells. So that's why like building a little bit of resist helps a lot on Zed in the way that like you don't get one shot from just like a single auto attack. So that kind of this kind of just solves that problem. So yeah, that's my build. If you, I guess if you want to see the standard build, I'll go over it quickly. It's okay. Like I did run some numbers on it, and like the problem is so if you're doing standard build, I would recommend not going grudge third. Which sounds weird. I would definitely just go like probably edge third. Because your lethality is more important now than your percent pen. And this would just make you really strong at like assassination. It's not a very good build though because it doesn't have hard carry potential. I mean, you can actually just go hubris third. Hubris and then you go grudge, and that seems decent to be honest. If you have to go eclipse, and then you go like, I mean at that point you do profane and then you sell this for this. But yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.